December 2nd strike off the coast of Venezuela, the very first one when combat operations began in the Caribbean. And walk us through the timeline and your role in it, from mission planning, the operation, and the follow-on strikes.
Absolutely. So it took us a couple of weeks, almost a month, to develop, and I can't get into sources and methods and all of those things for obvious reasons, but you have to develop the intel picture and get an understanding of what you're looking at. And a lot of our assets, as I talked about in the speech, have been pointing 10,000 miles around at the other side of the world for a very long time. So once we got to the point where a strike was imminent, I had taken the decision responsibility up to my level. Not many military decisions should be made by the Secretary of War. I believe in deferring those decisions to local commanders as much as possible, but because of the strategic implications of the first few strikes, I wanted to hold that decision at my level. And the briefing that I received before that strike was extensive, exhaustive, I would say, as each one is since. On the military side, on the civilian side, lawyers, intel analysts, red teaming, every aspect. What do we know? What do we know about their affiliation? A lot of things I can't share in this room to give us the kind of confidence that we know where this is coming from, who's driving it, who's on it, what their intentions are, where it's all the details you need to strike a designated terrorist organization, which is an important thing to remember at the top of all this. The president has designated these as terror organizations, poisoning and threatening the American people, making them a target just like Al-Qaeda. So in that room, in that moment, it was, I can't remember exactly how long it would have been, 20, 30 minutes of a preview of exactly what's going on. And my job was to say, execute or don't execute. So I was satisfied with the strike criteria, yes. Saw the strike itself, which all of you have seen. There was probably 30 or 40 minutes, is what I've been told, of dust, and it was on fire for a long time after that. I stayed for probably five minutes or so after. But ultimately, at that point, it was a tactical operation, and so I moved on to other things. I shouldn't be fighting tactics as the Secretary of War, so I moved on to other things. Later on, a couple hours later, I was told, hey, there had to be a reattack because there were a couple folks that could still be in the fight, access to radios, there was a link-up point of another potential boat, drugs were still there, they were actively interacting with them, had to take that reattack. I said, Roger, sounds good. From what I understood then and what I understand now, I fully support that strike. I would have made the same call myself. Those who were involved in 20 years of conflict in Iraq and Afghanistan or elsewhere know that reattacks and restrikes of combatants on the battlefield happen often. In this particular case, it was well within the authorities of Admiral Bradley, who's an incredible American, an American hero. And the 22 or 23 strikes since have followed the similar protocol of ensuring we meet the criteria. The decision's not at my level anymore.